So everybody saying that the Panthers are out. I'm going to tell you a story. When I got this job, okay, I didn't think I was going to get this job. I thought there was no way. Huh? It's over. Look at me. Look at me. Come on. But Karen, I have you, Karen. Karen hired me even though Josh didn't want to hire me, huh? And look at me. I'm a star. They even let me rap a couple years ago. I wish they would let me sing, though. But anyway, look, if I can get this job, the Panthers can make the playoffs. All right? It's that simple. Everybody has something they can contribute. Huh? I'm not just a DEI hire.
You ready? Here we go. It did it. I don't believe it. Let's go Panthers. Let's go Panthers. Let's go Panthers. Let's go. Go. Hot drop. And 3, 2, 1. Let's go Panthers. Let's go Panthers. Let's go Panthers. Let's go. Go. All right, Panthers fans. We got 9 games left. We got to win 7 of them. Starts tonight in Ottawa. We got a 4-game road trip. There's 8 points. Bare minimum you need is 6. Still got no Sam Bennett. We got a 4th line of Colin White with Cousins and Giovanni Smith. But I'm going to go out on a limb. I'm going to go out on a big fat limb and say 4-2 Panthers. They got to get this fixed, right? You have to expect that these guys know that this is it. This is it. All of the straw is on top of the camel. And the straw that is going to break the camel's back, the guy is just about ready to drop it on the camel's back. They have to come out absolutely flying. Just leave it out there on the ice. Just give me that. You know Bob's going to do that. You know Barkov's going to do that. Pretty sure Kachuk's going to do that. Team has holes. We have no depth. The third line, I think, is Stahl, Lomberg, and Reinhardt. I mean, I don't know what we expect out of a team that's got a 3rd and 4th center pairing of Eric Stahl and Colin White. But whatever that team can be, we're fixing to find out here tonight. Let's get to. I'm exhausted. It's 2-0. 2-0 Senators after 1. They just didn't show up. The team literally just did not show up. Now, we could come back and win this game, so I'm not going to absolutely lose my shit right here, right now, in this moment. I'm so beaten down and abused and just all of the words, the same things that you guys are feeling. How much emotion can you have for this team before the up and the down and the up and the down and the up and the down? I mean, we had a 7-game point streak. We grasped control of the 7 seed, and they have choked since then. And then they've come out here tonight, and there's nobody moving their legs. Barkov is playing. Kachuk is playing-ish. But I'm seeing guys just standing still or barely moving, waiting for the opponent to get the puck and then maybe make a move towards them. There's no fire, there's no energy, there's no heart. Whether that's because the coach sucks, whether that's because the system has beaten these players down to a pulp, let's be honest. I was going to say we have 3 lines, but our 3rd line is Stahl with Lomberg and Reinhardt. Now save the fact that that's Reinhardt, who looks absolutely terrible out there today. That's a 4th line. Stahl with Lomberg. No disrespect to Lomberg. nice player, right? Full of energy, but Mason Marchment was our guy in that spot last year with 18 goals. You see what I'm saying? Bob looks really, Bob just played the best period ever from a goaltender who allowed 2 goals on 7 shots. At one point he made like 3-4 saves in a row before the puck was finally knocked. I say this, there's a lot of different emotions behind this, what I'm about to say. There's what the hell's wrong with you, Jaws? There's appreciation that I can even do it, etc., etc. But somehow, in some way, in the last 7 years, I made the decision to make this team responsible for half of my income. In a way, they're responsible for it, right? I'm responsible for it. You guys are the ones donating the money, but like if you lose interest and I lose interest, you see what I'm saying? Like, I can't just come out and put on a performance like the Panthers did in the first period. Everybody would unsubscribe, justifiably. Everything is on the line, and I'm sure that when this season's over, we're going to hear the excuse that they had no gas left in the tank. And we were warned by Winnipeg Jets fans that this is what was going to happen. The same way we kind of whispered to them about Huberdeau and Uyghur. It would only be fitting for neither team to make the playoffs after that whole thing. Let's move on to second period. So it's 3-1 Ottawa after 2. For those of you who don't know, this is the rally cap. I thought it was going to work for a half a second. I'll leave it on. But I want you to close your eyes and think about the team that we had last year. And then I want you to realize that Ottawa just scored their 3rd goal, and out there on the PK was Reinhart, Gudis, and both Stalls. Again, think about the team we had last season, and here we are trying to win 7 of 9, making the playoffs. And we've got both Stahl brothers on the PK against a good, young, fast Ottawa team. There's so much blame to go around for this mess for this season. And it just goes all the way back to the $10 million goalies and all that. Not that anything is Bob's fault. It's just money. We have no money. Duke looks terrible. The only guy that has really genuinely showed up tonight is Barkov. And that's what we've talked about on the stream, is like Barkov is finally acting like a captain and putting on his big boy pants, and he is giving every last ounce of effort you can tell out on the ice, and nobody else has shown up. Lundell in front of the net, nothing. Reinhart right in the slot with the perfect opportunity to shoot the puck, and he flubs a half-assed pass to try to get it to, I think, Lundell or maybe Duke. Duke just cross-ice passes to nobody with defenders in the middle. This is a freaking disaster. This team is not a playoff team, right? Right now, this team is bad. We had our 7-game point streak run. That was all the gas they had in the tank, clearly. And without Bennett, and with this version of Duclair, and Ekblad, and Stahl, and Lundell, and Giovanni Smith. I mean, Colin White, come on, what are we talking about? What are we talking about here? Now, maybe they'll score 3 in the third and shove that all back down my throat. I hope so. But it ain't likely. I'm exhausted. This has been brutal. Move on to the third period. Well, all right, let's do this. Let's do this. Either this season is going to end with the most miraculous thing I've ever seen as a Panther fan, or this season just ended in the most frustrating, depressing, mind-numbing, nauseating way it could have. Now, if I take the emotion out of it and put it here, and we're going to get there. Stick around. Those of you who have been here long enough know I have an arc with these post games. And just because I start off calm. So we're going to put the emotion over here. If I looked at this practically, look at our frickin' roster, people. The fourth line has got Colin White and Giovanni Smith. We're killing penalties with both Stahl brothers out there on the ice, who have clearly, while they've had some nice moments this season, as the grind has gone on, the age of their legs is really starting to show, especially with Mark. Eric, not as much, but Mark for sure. So you look at the roster. You don't even have to compare it to last year. Don't compare it to last year, because that'll make you cry in terms of looking at the bottom six. So you look at the names and you think, but then what we have here is a problem, because before the season started, well, two things were going on while I was arguing with Calgary Flame fans on who won the trade. The other thing I kept hearing from Winnipeg Jets fans was, Maurice is going to ruin your young players. Maurice is going to ruin your players. He's going to make you guys worse. Now, Duke, not looking great, has the injury. He's not 100%. He's not. I'm not talking about Duke. Ekblad, I don't know. You don't know. I don't know. We don't know. I don't know if he's got 2 pulled groins. He didn't look terrible tonight. But that's where we've gotten to with Ekblad as well. He didn't look terrible. Anton Lundell, on the other hand. Now, you guys know how I feel about Anton Lundell. And I'm going to sit here and I'm going to say I am not going to sit here and give up on Anton Lundell the way some people gave up on Owen Tippett. I won't be making that mistake right now. Clearly, there's issues going on. Now, on one hand, it's a lot of pressure for a 21-year-old center. Let's be honest. Just throw him up there at 2C. I mean, you'd like to see him respond better. Okay. He's still 21. Not 24, 25, 21. He has not even filled out size-wise yet. Remember how Huberdeau looked his first few years. So, I'm not ready to throw Lundell under the bus. But clearly, and this has been, I'm going to have to step all the way back. I'm going to have to go all the way back. What we have been doing to this franchise since the summer of analytics. And yes, it goes all the way back to that. And hear me out. Because what we have been doing with this franchise is drafting and developing players that play a certain style, and then halfway through that development of a roster, changing the style of play and the coaching staff, and occasionally the GM. And so, while we've had a couple of years where we've been, oh, look, we're good, for the most part, except for last year, we've kind of been Franken-team from the sense of we've got guys that are part of the old way we were building, guys that are part of the new way we're trying to build, guys that are just filling in the gaps, overpaid guys like Dave Bowen. What the hell was that? Sure would be nice to have Lawson Krause and his, 22, 23 goals right about now. So, Lawson Krause, Owen Tippett, or why I'm not going to sit here and throw Anton Lundell under the bus just yet. So, I'm not unaware at all of the way he's played lately. Lawson Krause, Owen Tippett, I'm not throwing Lundell under the bus just yet. That's not going to happen from me. Now, we had a 7-game point streak, which by most NHL team standards, 7-game point streak. But by our standards, all right, we managed to not suck 2 weeks straight. Fantastic. Well, then we followed it up with 4-game losing streak. My theory is all of the gas they had was on the 7-game point streak. All of the gas that they had left in the tank to play, especially this time of year. Don't tell Ottawa they can't make the playoffs. Oddly enough, we're sitting here saying the season is over. I'm sure Ottawa still has hope. But it's because they're a younger, up-and-coming team, and we're like, what happened? Because we're the President's Trophy, defending President's Trophy winner. So, now, in terms of the emotion of the whole thing, years past, I would sit here and yell and scream and curse and hyperventilate because I was angry. Pissed. Especially the first few years. Woo! Because I was pissed. Still am. There's Gerard Gallant coaching the Rangers, who look pretty damn good. Definitely one of the teams that could give the Bruins a run for their money, if not take the Bruins down, is the Gerard Gallant coached New York Rangers. So, what we're witnessing here is we're still paying for that. And I'm not necessarily saying just because we fired Gallant, but the process that was started in that off season, we are still trying to find our way in terms of this is the system, these are the players. We have players in the AHL level that complement the players that we have, that complement the system and the coaches that we have. We ain't solved the problems since we fired Gerard Gallant because we were a game over 500, whatever the hell we were, with Huberdeau out because of the Achilles. We still have not solved that problem, with the exception of last season. Last season, start off, we figured we've got the coach, we've got Q, we've got the players, we've got the system, and we did. How much of what happened with Q is why we got swept out of the playoffs? We ain't never gonna know, because as much as we would like to blame Bruno for the power play problems, have you seen us this year? And look, even last year when the power play was fantastic at some point, it was either ass or spectacular. There was no in between. And it's the same cast of characters getting into the same funks of moving the puck too slowly, telegraphing the passes, one pass too many, flubbing the shots. It's the same cast of characters for the most part in terms of the ones that are making the mistakes. So last year was truly the only year where we entered the season with the proper personnel that matched the coach and the system that we had for the most part. And it showed on the ice. And what we have now is no mistake. It's not by accident that all of a sudden we get this coach who wants to play playoff hockey the entire season and we can't stay healthy. It's not by accident. It's not. It just isn't. He started off in training camp pushing them most likely too hard. Guys have gutted it out playing through injuries after playing his style of hockey throughout the entire season. We had a 7-game point streak, and that was it. That was all the gas we had in the tank. Now, the other part to the reason why that's all the gas we had in the tank is because last year we had not only a really nice fourth line, but if 3 guys got injured and we had to put the entire 5th line on as the 4th line, they were better than anything we've had practically on the 3rd line this year. So the minutes that the top 2 lines, especially with Barkov, Kachuk, Bennett, Verhaeghe, the minutes that those guys have had to play against the caliber of opponent and the intensity that they've had to play because we started so slow, to be honest with you, I'd rather lose these 4 games than have had another 2 weeks of gas left in the tank and then hit Boston and be blown out 27-5 in the 4 games. Because if you put this defense on the ice with Boston, Carolina, to Rangers, we wouldn't have played them anyway. But you put this defense on the ice against the Bruins? Are you kidding me? Come on. Come on. So I can't even be angry. I can't. I'm disappointed. I'm drained. I'm so drained. I have enjoyed this season more than any other because of the live streaming. But it also has taken a tremendous amount of my energy because we're up. I mean, it's not just, I mean, you guys are there watching, so you're doing the same thing, but it's just been different because tonight's the perfect example where we come into this game like, come on, we can do this. And then it's 2-0, it's like, oh. And it's 2-1, it's like, okay, maybe. And then 3-1, it's like, oh, God. And then 3-2, maybe. And we're coming, and we're coming, and we're coming at them. And then Lundell gloves the puck off the face-off. But then I revert all the way back, and look who's on the ice. It's Mark Stahl. It's Eric Stahl. It's Giovanni Smith. It's Colin White. All due respect, it's Nick Cousins. Nick Cousins is a guy that when 2 of your 4th line players are hurt, you insert Cousins and he doesn't kill you. If you want to be a cup team. So, like I said, on one hand, I'm obviously nobody more disappointed in this than I am. I'm the soon-to-be dummy that predicted we were going to win the cup. Not a dummy yet. I got, 8 games left until I'm a real freaking idiot. But past that, kind of what I talked about today in the podcast. Somebody asked about the podcast. I do a podcast every day, Monday through Friday, for the YouTube members and the Patreon supporters. The links are in the description. Memberships start at $3 a month. I appreciate it. But one of the things that I got to on the podcast was like, yeah, we have just enough money to maybe fill the holes that we created last summer. But the problem is now we have new holes. We don't know what the hell Duke is going to be. We have no idea what Duclair is going to be. We don't know what Ekblad is anymore. Okay? We just don't. And what's the Spencer Knight situation? Do we need a backup goaltender? You know, I'm not saying that to be insensitive. We just don't know. We don't know, right? So we've ended the year, instead of starting the year with 5 holes, and we picked up a player here or a player there that filled a hole, and a couple of young guys came up from the AHL and they look good. We're ending the season with significantly more holes than we started. And we don't even know what we have at coach. I mean, I think we know what we have at coach. But he hasn't been able to pull it off yet. Nobody doubts that in his system it can win some games. But it's been 20 some odd years of him consistently thinking if he gets his guys to kill himself for 82 games, they'll somehow be primed and ready to continue to kill themselves in the playoffs. It ain't working. It ain't working, Paul. It ain't working. Look down the bench. Look at the room. Do you know how banged up Bennett must be to not be able to go out there and play? The abuse that Forsling's body is taking by blocking shots and just getting the crap beat out of him. Barkov clearly exhausted after every face-off, every time he's on the bench. We looked like ourselves for a couple of games when Duke came back and he had fresh legs, and Bennett and Barkov came back and we were healthy. And that's as close to anything that was last year that we looked. And of course, the other issue here is Bob. Bob played lights out for as long as he could. He's 34 years old. Spencer Knight is supposed to be in there every 3rd or 4th game. And he's not. He's not. And Alex Lyon is not really a viable backup goaltender, not for a playoff team. That's one mistake Zito made here. Knight went into the program while there was still time to trade for a guy. Now, maybe he knocked on some doors and everybody gave us the finger. It's possible. We don't exactly have a lot of assets. But it kind of sounds more like they just rolled the dice on Bob was just going to be able to gut it out. And the entire team ran out of gas at the same time. That's what I see. And between Maurice's style and the injuries, in hindsight, we all shoulda, woulda, coulda saw this coming. So, I'm disappointed. But if I'm angry about anything, if I'm animated and angry about anything, it is, and this is not going to make sense to some of you, and it will make sense to some of you, the stupidity of the pivot that we made with this franchise after losing to the Islanders and going all in on the analytics and doing the whole Tom Rowe, getting rid of Gallant thing. That started a chain reaction of events that we are still paying for here today, because we still have not really gotten our footing, with the exception of last season. Okay? Last season was the only time that we had the players, the coach, and the system. So what did we do? As soon as it didn't work out, we changed the coach and the system again. And yes, I was on board with thinking that we needed a veteran coach. Maybe it would have been smarter to just keep Bruno and hire a more veteran, assistant coach system behind him. Hindsight and all, as you know. But I don't know what this team's going to be next year. There's times when I look at it and I say that they might be able to make something happen. We've got some young players, but we keep saying it. I mean, we need at least two. I prefer to say we need 3 new defensemen because I would love to see Ekblad move during the offseason. That's not likely to happen. But are you just going to... Do you want to bring up Kiersted Carlson? Make that the bottom pair? Forsling, Montour, Ekblad, Mahura? You see what I'm saying? Ekblad is the new Yandel. It's like wherever you're going to place him, you're like, with him. You're not going to win a lot when you're hiding what's supposed to be your number one defenseman. When you have to hide your highest paid defenseman, you got issues. But I don't think Paul Maurice agrees with us because he's got Ekblad out there in the most important parts. Most important. And Maurice ain't going anywhere, people. We could scream it. We could buy the hell with the banner. We could buy the plane and paint it. Fire Maurice. Zito ain't firing that man. Zito will go down with that ship. That's what I feel. And so, I didn't see this one coming. I mean, sure, I knew there was a chance we weren't going to make the playoffs, but I didn't see tonight going this way. I thought that they would come out, but they don't have any gas left in the tank. And I know that there's going to be some people that are going to say, that's an excuse. That's fine. I'm not necessarily disagreeing with you, but either the entire team stopped caring or they just all ran out of gas at the same time. Pick. Right? Because the level of play on the ice indicates either a complete lack of effort, with the exception of 5 minutes every once in a while, or a complete lack of energy to give effort with. Based on everything I was told by the Winnipeg Jets fans before the season, I was told by multiple Winnipeg Jets fans that by the time the end of the season came, the players would be wiped the hell out, injured, beaten up, battered, and bruised. So that's what I'm going with, because when somebody who watched that coach, when they tell me what's going to happen, and then it happens, I will tend to believe the reasons that they told me. I don't think this is a situation where the guys just stopped caring or trying. I legitimately think the entire freaking team just kaputzed. That's it. They ran out of gas. And the last piece of the puzzle was Sam Bennett. And that's that. And that's that. Alright. Stu and I will not be back in the morning. Stu is having a family emergency right now. I don't want to speak for him. When he's able to come on and talk about it, I'll let him come on and talk about it. But most likely we're not having a review in the morning. So what I will do is I will make part of the podcast review-ish, or maybe I just do it on my own. We'll see if I have any new thoughts by morning to make it worth it. So we're not having a review in the morning like we normally do. Podcast will be out. And then Wednesday and Thursday we have to play back-to-back games. The Islanders are winning, so what's that going to put us? 5 points out? It's over. I may as well just say it's over. Like I said at the start. I mean, if they win all 8 games and shock the world, I'll take it. I will stand here and say I shouldn't have given up. I will gladly do that. But this team's out of gas. You can see it. It's all of them, with the exception of Barkov. And Barkov is just, I won't complain anymore about Barkov. Barkov has finally shown up in the most important moments. And it's just a shame nobody else did. Well, Forsling did. But for the most part, I'm watching Kachuk and I'm waiting. I'm waiting for him to turn on that next gear. It's just not there. It just didn't happen. And so my frustration, my disappointment, my anger, all of those emotions now really just not about this season. I'm looking at next season already and I'm like, and I know a lot can happen. I know a lot can happen, and I think a lot is going to happen during this off season. I think for $6.5 million, I think Sam Reinhart could easily be moved. I would certainly, if I was Bill Zito, at least pick up the phone and be like, "Yeah, so number 5, Ekla, anybody? Hello?" I would at least pick up the phone. You could clear $14 million in cap space, and losing Ekblad and Reinhardt ain't costing this team a cup. You see what I'm saying? You know, we've got some good young players. You know, Samskovich, I think that's how you say his name. Apparently I'm missing a syllable there. Kiersted Carlson as a bottom pair would be young, good, cheap talent. We're still going to need that if we could stop trading it away. I wonder what a third line right now of Lundell with Tippett and Lawson Krause would look like. I had to go there, didn't I? I had to do it. I had to do it. We're still paying for shit, people. We're still paying for that summer. The summer before I started, the summer that caused me to start this channel. We are still paying for it. The only time we've had it all together since then is at the start of last year. And what did we get? 8 games with Q? Before, was it 8 games? Something like that? We still won the President's Trophy. But we didn't have that experienced coach on the bench to help us get to the next level. And what we should have done is, hell, just, I don't know. If you keep Bruno, we should have kept the damn system. That's the thing, man. I guess that's the biggest thing I'm getting to is like, these players aren't built to play this. Anton Lundell is not built to be 2C in this style that Paul Maurice is playing. He's just not that kind of player. So we've drafted guys and developed guys and brought guys in that aren't. Verhaeghe's not that kind of player. Lundell's not that kind of player. Barkov really isn't that kind of player. He's given it his all out there. Duke is not a physical player. Let's just keep going. Reinhardt is not really a physical player. He's good in front of the net, but he's not a guy that's going to go hitting. You see what I'm saying? We don't have the... You see what I'm saying. I'm going to get this up and out because it's going to be late enough because Kyle's not here to help and yada, yada, yada. Soon, very soon, we will be closing down year 7. I can't say nothing. How many years has Dangle been doing it? He hasn't won a round yet. They haven't won a round. So, I'm tired. See you guys in the morning.